Welcome into the Bad Fan Podcast. I'm your host, Cole Carter, and Brandon and I, are so glad to have you tuned in with us today. To those of you listening along on Spotify, we are geared up and ready to go today. And if you're viewing this on YouTube, then go ahead and leave a like for today's episode. It does a lot for the channel. And to those who are new around here, then we will be honored for you to subscribe today. Becoming a Bad Fan is easy and made better by clicking the bell below this video to get notifications for all new videos coming down the pipeline. That way you are always connected with all things Bad Fan. Well, I can't do this thing alone. I'm joined by my good friend, Brandon Pasnick. As you guys know, Brandon, it's good to have you back in. How's the week been so far, big guy?
It's been great. Work has been busy, which is good. Cold weather came back to Columbus, so been in the 30s. How
cold are you guys getting? Wow. 30s.
It's like high 30s in the mornings and then gets into the 50s in the afternoon. It's weird days. It's like the sun is out a little bit, but it's being covered by gray clouds. So it's not fog, but it's really interesting. Anywho, hopefully we'll be in the spring next week, like just full-fledged spring, no more 30s. I don't want to see a 3 on the weather at all. Other than that, sports have been great this week. I mean, the draft is going on right now as we speak, but soccer in the middle of the week has been phenomenal. And my dad's coming in this weekend, so that's really exciting.
Oh, very exciting. Nice. I like hearing that.
How's your week been?
It's been good. It's been good for the most part. Let's see. I went on a run this week, trying to get back into fitness shape, getting ready for the summer, play some soccer. Home life's been okay, getting through the week. But yeah, like you said, the sports this week have been great. The standard, it seems, this past year has just been very high. You know, soccer in particular. We'll talk about that in about a couple of minutes. But really, it's been really top-notch sports, and we're glad to have you guys in to listen about what we have to say about it. As we always do, we're taking you guys on a rundown and a journey through the world of sports, giving an informative take on the headlines that you need to know, and discussing our views that may go against the grain of other normal fans. But we're going to begin today's Bad Fan journey with some headlines since the last time that we talked on here, beginning with the NBA playoffs, which are some things are ending in the first round, teams advancing to the second round of the playoffs. And we'll begin with the hometown team, the Atlanta Hawks, were eliminated by the Miami Heat in a game that was actually very close. DeAndre Hunter for the Hawks went off. I do think he got fleeced a bit at the end of the game. He fouled out with about a minute to go. PJ Tucker really sold a foul. I mean, it was a flop, to be honest. The refs bought it, and they fouled out DeAndre Hunter. So the Hawks are sent home back to Atlanta until next season when, as Trae Young promises, to do more and do better. We'll see if he can come through on that. The points and assists leader, that is. The Chris Paul show has continued late into his career, and this guy literally did not miss in Game 6. He had 33 points and sent the New Orleans Pelicans home packing in 6 games with literally a perfect performance. The point god, people are calling him. I guess he's doing pretty good. Sometimes you have people that have the commercial curse, but I think he's been doing okay with those State Farm commercials. Maybe Cliff has been helping out on the insurance side. The Warriors advance their return to the playoffs after missing out for the past couple of seasons with injuries to Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and more. They beat the Denver Nuggets in 5 games. And the Philadelphia 76ers beat the Toronto Raptors in 6 games as well. Joel Embiid impresses with 33 points and 10 rebounds, all done with a torn right thumb ligament. So he is living his best life, sans Ben Simmons, and him and James Harden are moving on to the second round of the NBA playoffs. Would you like to see that, Brandon? Do we like seeing the 76ers achieve things?
It's sort of funny with a fat James Harden on their team. Yeah, I mean, Joel Embiid is just I think he and Giannis, I'm not even going to attempt to say the last name, are like the 2 best players in the league for sure. They're so good. They're just absolutely ridiculous. At least this year they have been. And last year, I mean, they've been so consistent, it seems like. I don't follow the NBA super heavily, but when it comes to playoffs, they just seem so good. Like, it's awesome. But
yeah, I love getting to see Giannis play. I think it was good to see the Hawks beat the 76ers last year. Just kind of felt like the same thing beating the Dodgers, just beating that team that it's sort of easy to pick on. But at this point in the NBA playoffs, I'm really not rooting for anyone in particular. I guess maybe Golden State to see if they can refine their glory from back in the day. But hey, that's basketball. We'll move on from that. Like you said, the NFL draft is currently happening. Round one has begun and is wrapping up. And the number one overall pick is actually the University of Georgia's Trayvon Walker. The edge rusher will be the fourth UGA player taken number one overall, and is the first since Matthew Stafford went in 2008. I would say that one worked out well for the LA Rams this past season. His time in Detroit obviously came to an end, but he certainly will be well remembered in Detroit as well. But Trayvon Walker starts his career in Jacksonville with the Jaguars. The edge rusher will see to maybe find a way to make that team somewhat relevant. I don't think they're there yet. It depends on what they can do with the rest of their picks in the draft. The second pick up in Detroit is Aiden Hutchinson. Staying in Michigan, the Wolverine will stay home, and we'll see if he can, again, a team that needs a lot of work up in Detroit, but we'll see if the Lions can turn anything around. And another team that needs a lot of work, and this one, again, I don't know, dude. The home teams, sometimes they send you for a loop, and the Atlanta Falcons, at the number 8 pick, select wide receiver Drake London from USC. Was the wide receiver position our number one priority? I don't know.
I think it was a priority, but the number one priority,
I know.
definitely not. When was the Falcons' second pick? Do you know? When is it?
I don't know. I think it's in the 40s, but
I mean,
just
the best picks, in my opinion, in this year's draft are wide receivers. Like the best players in the draft are wide receivers, and they all went. I think they're probably all gone by now, but
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe something about his frame, and his build, like, is what the Falcons are looking for. But there are 3, maybe 4 better wide receivers that were on the draft board when he was taken, in my opinion. I think he'll have a good career, though. It seems like he's a pretty good baller. So, yeah, interesting. But I agree with you. Wide receiver, I would have not taken in that 8 spot.
Yeah, I think we really need some help on the offensive and defensive line. Maybe,
Yes.
Terry Fontenot is talking about the BPA, the best player available, and maybe he just saw him, maybe not even this draft, but he's looking ahead a year or two from now. He's thinking, we won't have a chance at a guy like this again. I don't know his thinking, but only time will tell how this 8th pick will turn out down the road. I think kind of someone that stole the show isn't even a part of the draft, but Tennessee Titans wide receiver is no longer. A.J. Brown was traded from the Titans to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for the 18th overall pick, which turned into Arkansas receiver Treylon Burks and also a 3rd rounder. Now, that's a huge move that shakes up the NFL. Philadelphia, I think, is having the best night for the the first round. They also got Georgia tackle, what's his first name? Davis.
Jordan?
Yes, Jordan Davis. And they're looking pretty good, making some big moves. Brown will also now sign a 4-year, $100 million extension in Philly. So the Eagles will look to reinforce Jalen Hurts and see if he can actually be the star that they need him to be. Mm-hmm. I know our friend Robbie will be keeping an eye kept on the rest of the draft in Philadelphia, but big moves from them, stealing the headlines, getting a talented wide receiver, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are. So I think he was going into his last year of his contract is what they were saying. And then, it's cool to see him get immediately extended. So It almost seems like they had this planned for a while now, especially if a contract was already agreed to. So that's interesting. But yeah, I mean, I think the Eagles are looking pretty good going into this next season. We'll see what happens. But I got to shout out the Jets with 2 really good moves, I think. Getting Sauce Gardner at, was it number 4? And the old Buckeye, Garrett Wilson, who I think is probably the best wide receiver in the draft. Just his upside is insane. So two Ohioans, at least they went to college in Ohio, going to New York. So hopefully it works out for them. I think the Jets are just a terrible organization, but I had to shout out the Jets a little bit for our friend Jake.
Jake, Jets.
Jets.
Well, enough about the NFL draft for today. We'll probably give some of the bigger picks on the next episode.
If there's anything left. Maybe the quarterbacks, right? I guess there's some quarterbacks in the draft.
Some quarterbacks have to be taken off the board at some point. Kind of crazy that we didn't see any in the top 20, I don't think. But we talked about there being some midweek soccer, some really amazing games and moments, but a kind of quirky, odd moment that happened when we recorded today happened this morning. What was that? And give us the details.
There's not really many details. I woke up to an alert on my phone. I don't know if I don't know. Anywho, I got this alert saying Mino Raiola has died. For those of you who don't know who he is, he's probably the richest agent in the world,
and most notorious,
and the most notorious as well. Probably out of any sport.
Him and Scott Boras are both just right there, neck and neck, it seems.
Yeah, this guy is he makes everything difficult. But that's why big players like him, because he typically gets what the players want. Anywho, so supposedly he had died. I guess he's having health issues. Like, actually, he's having health issues that have been going on for a while, supposedly. But yeah, reportedly dead this morning by an Italian reporter. And as you can see, I'm laughing because he tweeted like, I don't know, maybe an hour later after I got the alert that actually he was fine. He tweeted that his health status was pissed off because I guess that's the second time in the last 4 months that they reported him dying. So it was just a weird way to start my morning this morning. Very, very weird. I guess a little morbid, but sort of funny. Like, the world of soccer and news, like soccer media, is just crazy to say. I mean, to say the least. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's usually very toxic, I guess, is the best way to explain it. Like, there just can't be any peace. I mean, Steven was just talking about the whole like transfer sagas or manager situations. It's like, is Antonio Conte leaving Tottenham? It's like, the man's just got there. Like, what? It's just, it's always very strange.
I love the transfer window, so be prepared for the summer. I love some transfer rumors, so I'm sure we'll be talking more about that.
We are constantly swapping tweets and text about transfer rumors, anything, even jerseys. Like, we're always on the cutting edge of what's happening in the sports world, but particularly on the pitch with soccer. But so anyways, that happened. Very strange, very odd.
We had to say that because that was a weird thing that happened.
Just so weird. Maybe he is close to dying. I don't know, but I don't really care that much, to be honest. If he goes, he goes. I don't know the guy. He's got his money. Anyways, not to be morbid like you said. But on Tuesday, we had an unreal classic in the Champions League semifinals. Leg one between Manchester City and Real Madrid. This one was wild. It was a 4-3 result. Man City getting the win in leg one. But they just had everything I think you could have wanted. It had goals. It had stellar goals. It had just ice-cold moments, Brandon. What was the one that stuck out to you the most from the match?
I got to say Benzema's penalty, the Panenka. Just to even attempt that against who I think is the best team in the world. I mean,
that's nasty.
To score their third goal. Gosh. Again, I think I said this a couple weeks ago when Man City played Liverpool, that you guys should just go watch the full game again. This is one of those games where you should go watch the full game, not the highlights, the entire 90 minutes. An absolute classic. To be honest, Man City could have been up, I think, 4-1
easily by the half.
In the first half. Easily. They left one-on-ones with the keeper. They just left so many chances out in the field, and I was like, that is going to come back to bite them. Also really confusing to see Real Madrid get sort of opened like that. I don't know. What do you think? Because I was texting you guys. I was like, oh my God, they should have scored again. Oh my God, they should have scored again. Like, and they didn't. They're just leaving, and we sort of knew, right? Like when they're not putting in those chances, Real Madrid will get something, right? They have to get something, and they ended up doing it. But
it felt like Riyad Mahrez could have had a hat trick that game. I think he was the one that left the most chances go. And that moment when Vinicius Jr. made that turn upfield and scored that goal, I think it was right after Man City had scored a goal. I think, was it to go up 3-1, I think? Maybe, I'm not sure exactly. But when Vinicius Jr. went down the field and scored that goal, you knew that this one was going to be special. And it did disappoint. Just that Benzema Panenka was unbelievable. To go against the Golden Glove winner from last season in the Premier League in Ederson was just so classy from Benzema. The man has 8 or 9 goals in the Champions League, it seems, in the knockout round. And he's just been wildly impressive.
Yeah, he really has. And he had 2 on the night, by the way. It wasn't just a beautiful penalty to get their 3rd goal. He had a really good goal. I think it was Zinchenko's fault, to be honest. I'd have to watch it back. But, Kevin De Bruyne scores in the 2nd minute. I think they said it was the fastest goal in a Champions League semifinal.
Yep.
Right. Mahrez with the assist on that one. It was a beautifully worked. They're just so fun to watch.
Yeah. Kevin being more than just I think he has one of the strongest foot in soccer. His ability is to smash a ball into the net is insane, but this time he used his head and placed it perfectly.
Yeah, he can do everything. He's a top 5, top 3 player in the world. Probably my favorite midfielder.
I think on his best days, he might be the best player in the world.
Yeah, he's
most
insane.
complete.
Very complete. He can do it all. And then Gabriel Jesus, who I think also had, was it a 1-on-1 as well? I feel like
yes,
at some point. Anywho, puts in a good goal in the 11th minute. So they go up 2-0 pretty early, and like I said, Real Madrid's defense is all over the place. Alaba, who transferred from Bayern Munich, was it past summer?
Mm-hmm.
Who's usually stellar, had a terrible night.
He got subbed off.
Yeah, was it at halftime?
Finished the game. I think it was the 55th minute. It was pretty early on. He got subbed off. I think it was after the 3rd goal they took him off and replaced him, I think, with Nacho, I believe. But
and that's fair. He was having a terrible night. So he'll be looking to make things right in the 2nd leg for sure. Like I said, then Benzema responds before half with a really good goal, sort of out of nowhere. And I think it came off of a turnover, an error. And that's what Real Madrid does. They press pretty well. They'll get a turnover, and then they'll go with their front 3. Vinicius is so good, but he's so good. And we'll get to that in a second. Because the second half starts, right? It's 2-1. The game should be blown out of the water from Man City at this point with, and I'm not just exaggerating that. Some people oh, we should have scored this. We should have scored it. I have no skin in this game, and Man City should have been winning 4-1. Phil Foden scores a good goal. And then the game after Vinicius Jr., I'll let you, explain the goal for everybody who didn't see it.
Well, I think it was a ball that I think Man City had a good chance, and the ball made its way up to the sideline, close to midfield, and Fernandinho made a step on Vinicius on the sideline, missed the ball. Vinicius makes a perfect turn up the sideline.
Dummies it.
And just makes the perfect run up the field, uses his speed to beat all the Man City defenders, and just slots it into the net to beat Ederson. It was just end-to-end. It was end-to-end stuff the whole game. And honestly, the fact that Real Madrid is in this 2nd leg is pretty incredible, like we've said.
Yeah, just incredible. An incredible solo goal by him. Just the audacity to do the dummy turn, and then just sprint 60 yards solo, and
The composure to actually
finish it. Yeah, like, man, Vinicius Jr. What a player. I mean, he's stepping up big time.
I mean, he was the one that was pretty much like, hey, man, you're going to fill the shoes that Ronaldo left. That was pretty much what he came to do. I mean, Hazard was just a total flop in Madrid.
Hazard flop.
So it's been Vinicius to be the one to try and fill those shoes. Initially, I think now Benzema obviously has stepped up and become the man on that team, but Vinicius Jr. showing that he is no slouch even at a young age.
Yeah, and dang, I wish Steve was here because he'd be much more excited about the game, I think, or give us a little bit more insight. But yeah, so at that point, it is 3-2. I'm at work and watching it, so I'm freaking out. Like, what is happening in this game? Like, Man City should be far and away. They should be in the final, basically, at this point. Nope, not the case. Bernardo Silva does score maybe a controversial goal. I've seen some things about it.
I initially had said I thought the whistle was blown. I saw it go to his mouth, and then I thought the whistle had been blown. Obviously, the Madrid players expected it to be blown.
Yeah.
And they stopped. A lot of them stopped. I think Camavinga was around the ball, and then Courtois never really unplanted his feet. And so, yeah, Bernardo Silva takes advantage of the situation. He still had to do a lot of hard work to get that ball and to score it, but he blasted that thing in the left-hand corner of the goal.
Yeah. So it was, it was an interesting play-on call by the ref. But you do see, I mean, it happens, right? It does happen. So play to the whistle, I guess. And beautiful goal. I'm not going to take anything away from that, except for Courtois was not expecting it. So
right.
Interesting. And then, yeah, the beautiful Panenka penalty by Benzema. Just the audacity. 4-2 down in the 82nd minute. I mean,
and the commentator said he had missed 2 penalties over the weekend as well. So to come back after missing 2 to have the confidence
on the
to
biggest
do
stage,
yes.
Right? So that really just shows you how much confidence he has. He's flying probably more than any striker in the world at the moment. I'm assuming he's top for the Golden Boot. I should have looked it up, but the dude is crazy. So it's 4-3 going in the second leg. I don't even know how I would predict the second leg. I still think Man City will win. But, dude, I have no idea. What do you think?
More goals are in store.
I had said it was going to be a 1-0 win, very conservative. And then I think after Real Madrid was playing poor defense, it sort of egged Man City on to go after the game and sort of turned into some trouble. So we ended up with a 4-3 classic. Absolutely amazing. I love soccer. So and the Champions League.
We got that one out of the way, and we got to recover. The other one was not as crazy. I think it was equally, though, as lopsided in the beginning, except this one was sort of all the way through. We had Liverpool dominate against Villarreal. Maybe not on the scoreline. It was only a 2-0 scoreline, which is going to favor Villarreal into the next leg, I think. But what was the quick recap on this one that you saw?
Yeah, obviously we expected this. Villarreal only play one way in the Champions League, especially against bigger teams, better teams. It's a low block, 4-4-2. And none of the counterattacking that they tried to do against Liverpool was working on the day. Their forwards could not get on the ball. They could not hold it up very well. I didn't check the stats, but I watched a good portion of the game and just they were not producing anything at all. So yeah, I was, and I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think on Monday when we were previewing the game, saying 0-0 could happen. And honestly, I will say this, and I'll leave it to you, but the first goal for Liverpool was an own goal, sort of like a freak own goal by Villarreal. Came off of a cross that was deflected off of I think it was the left back. And the goalie was stepping out to, I guess, claim the cross where he expected it to go, and it came behind him and hit his hand. I think he could have pushed it away, but didn't, and went in the goal. Anywho, I'm not doing a great job of explaining it. Go watch it for yourselves. But if that doesn't go in, do Liverpool score? I mean, I know they scored like 2 minutes later after that off of a beautiful goal. But like, if Villarreal doesn't get shaken or a little rattled by that, do you think they could have held on to 0-0? I like want to say, because I sort of predicted that they would have, but Liverpool is just so much better than them. It's crazy.
I definitely think it would not have ended 0-0. Liverpool's wingbacks in Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andrew Robertson are just too good on their services and just linking up that I think that no matter what, they're going to find a way to score some goals. I honestly think this one, again, could have been 4-0. I think Robertson had a goal called back for offsides that was like so close. So they had a couple opportunities. They were peppering the goal. It felt like, so they dominated the game. Obviously, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it felt like they probably had the majority of the possession and probably should have done better at the end of the day. They should have more than 2 goals, but Villarreal survives and now has a fighting shot going into leg 2 to make it to the Champions League final potentially.
Potentially. I mean, it goes back to Villarreal. They did not have a shot on target on the day. They had 1 shot total. So they had 26% possession. So if you can't get any shots on target, you're not going to score unless it's an own goal. Yeah, I think it might be wrapped up here. But there I go again. I said I'm not going to count Villarreal out until they're actually out, because they've proven us, I think the world wrong before. So it's going to be a good second leg. I think they're on 2 separate days, the Champions League legs, or second legs. So you should be able to watch both of them. But yeah, if you had to choose one,
I mean,
probably the Man City Real Madrid game.
Yeah, Man City is gonna, I think, take the cake and make it to the final. We'll have an all-English final. The 2 teams of the Premier League, the ones battling it out all season, they will be the ones to have a rematch of the century. Not of the century, but of the season. They've just been neck and neck. It's just been crazy.
Who knows? Liverpool could be going for the quadruple if they win the Champions League.
Be insane.
So,
that would be insane.
Like, they could win the league if Man City slip up. They could win, is it the FA Cup? They've already won the Carabao, and it looks like they're going to a Champions League. Could you imagine? We have some Liverpool fans that I'm sure will get on if that happens. And maybe we'll get them on anyways. But yeah, that's just the storyline I want to see throughout the rest of the season. I'm sure there's a lot of people that disagree with us. So if you disagree, get in the comments. Let us know how you feel. But I think it will be an all-English final.
Be crazy. It would be crazy.
Very crazy.
There were some more English teams playing in Europe in the Europa League semifinal on the lower tier European play. West Ham was taking on Eintracht Frankfurt, and that game ended 2-1 in Frankfurt's side. And the first goal came within the first minute. Kind of crazy. You want to give some highlights of this one?
Yeah, very briefly. There was a header to the back. It was a cross to the back post in the run of play within the first minute. Header goal. I mean, it was beautifully worked by Frankfurt. Seemed to shock West Ham. You know, they hadn't even played 60 seconds yet. They already get scored on. I think also the Frankfurt fans did show up. I didn't see the exact number, but I heard them when I was watching. But yeah, of course, West Ham responds. I think they're the better team. But yeah, they respond. Bowen had a one-on-one with the keeper. The keeper actually kick-saved it. I think his name is Will Trapp. So some of you guys might recognize his name because he's been around the German league. I think he was in the national team for a while too, if I'm not mistaken.
Definitely not the number one.
Yeah. Anywho, beautiful save by him. But in the 21st minute, West Ham did work a beautiful set piece goal. I don't know if you were able to see that goal, but it was great. I think it was Fornals from the set piece, and Zuma header across the box to their striker, and put it in to tie it 1-1. And then Frankfurt almost scored again before half. Maybe should have. It was a hard chance, I guess, sort of. But they did score in the 54th minute with a beautiful slip pass in behind the defensive line. Fabianski for West Ham actually made a really, really good save. But the ball deflects off him into another Frankfurt player who was onside, and it goes in the back of the net, 2-1. And then in the 79th minute, Frankfurt hit the post. I think it was also a one-on-one with the keeper. Or it wasn't. There was a defender in the way, but could have easily been 3-1. Let's just say that.
So what's interesting is I tuned in later into the game.
Yeah.
And at that point, the West Ham keeper wasn't even Fabianski. It was Raiola.
Oh, shoot. I didn't even realize that.
I don't even know what happened
something
in between. Yeah. So neither of us have any idea of what happened to Babinski.
Was it Fabianski that it might have been
Was it Raiola?
It might have been Raiola then.
Okay. That's what
I just said Fabianski because I was like, he is their keeper. It's a big game. I assume he'd be in.
Raiola was the one I was watching.
Okay,
so
shoot. That's my fault then.
An error. Okay.
Oh, man. Fact check.
That's what I'm here for.
But yeah, they could have gone 3-1 up. Should have gone 3-1 up, but hit the post. The post was hit a couple times tonight. And tell us about the last post hit of the night.
Man, dude, this goal would have been probably like the best goal in West Ham history. I don't even know much about West Ham, but the fact that this would have came in a semifinal on a pretty big European stage, it would have been amazing. Jared Bowen, he did hit the post, I think, twice in the night, and this second time was like at the 88th minute. It's off of a corner, I think, initially. I think a ball deflector got played in, and he tried the bicycle and hit just above the underside of the bar, and it bounced down, but it was in front of the goal line and did not count as a goal. But, I mean, the keeper was beat. I mean, there was nothing the keeper could have done. It was so sweet looking. I mean, it would have been amazingly done. But it just came up a little too high off the bar and didn't slip in. But, man, not only would that have equalized late, but it might have given West Ham the momentum and motivation to put Frankfurt away in the second leg. But now Frankfurt has the advantage going back home and West Ham on the road. So this one I think could go either way. Like you said, West Ham is the better team, but Frankfurt has shown to be the more hungry team. Mm-hmm. And West Ham will be riding, like we've been talking about, this will be their way into the Champions League if they can win the Europa League final. So they need this. They need this opportunity to get back on the world stage of being in Champions League football. So down 2-1, you have a great shot at winning, but they don't have the advantage. And that Frankfurt army showed up once again in London. So it won't be any easier going into their house back in Germany.
Yeah, it's really anybody's game going back to Germany. Bowen was off tonight. I think it's fair to say. You know, a couple of those you would say he would put in. I think he had 3 really good chances. Even if he just puts one of them in, they're tied 2-2, right? So I don't think he has another bad game. He's had a really good year. I've said he'll be on the flight to Qatar with England because I think he's just been that amazing this year. I can see him being the star of the next leg. And I do think West Ham still has a good chance. But Frankfurt, again, doing the job, going back home with a win, with a goal in hand, goal lead. And I'm not going to count them out either. They're very good.
Quickly run us through the rest of the European games that you have going on.
Very quickly. In the Europa League, the second game that was happening at the same time as the West Ham game, actually. RB Leipzig versus Rangers. I don't remember what we said this game might turn into. I don't know if we even gave predictions, but it was a pretty good game. Rangers didn't really create a whole lot. RB Leipzig is better than Rangers, full transparency. But it took until the 85th minute and an absolute banger from the Man City left back, right back. I think he can play midfield. I don't even know. Angelino. I think that also came off of a corner. Outside of the box. I think it was left-footed. God, just go watch it. Beautiful goal. Great for him. Great for them going in the second leg. It was at home, though. It was in Leipzig. So they'll be going to Scotland. And I did look it up. It is Glasgow. So they'll be going to Rangers.
Right on you.
Yeah. My accent's terrible. They will be at Rangers, and we'll see what happens there. We will see what happens there. I'd bet money on Leipzig, but you never, ever know. And Cuckoo also was off on the night, and Cuckoo's probably Leipzig's best player. He could have scored, I think, 2 and didn't. Yeah, that's also another player to watch out for. We mentioned Darwin Nunez from Benfica as a striker that's probably going to move to the Premier League this summer. And Cuckoo we could also see in the Premier League this summer. He will definitely be on a different team come next season. But there's also the Europa Conference League that's going on. So another the step down from the Europa League. So you got Champions League, Europa League, and brand new as of last year?
This year.
The
inaugural season.
The Europa Conference League. Semifinals, you had Leicester City playing Roma at home. The game ended 1-1. Our guy, Tammy, did not score the goal, so we'll just move right along. But the Leicester City, I mean, that's a Premier League team still in the semifinals.
I wish this was the final, to be honest.
Me too. Seems like it's fit for a final. But the other game, sort of, I don't know if anybody would have predicted this. I don't know much about these two teams, to be honest. I haven't been following them this year. But Marseille versus Feyenoord, it was at Feyenoord. I don't know what city that's in. Maybe that is the city. The game ended 3-2 to Feyenoord's favor. Pretty crazy. So they also will go into a second leg. That'll be next Thursday. Again, great games. And we've been telling you guys, the Champions League is not the only thing to watch. Premier League is not the only thing to watch. You have these midweek games that matter a lot. All of these teams are interested, especially at these later stages. They're going to be great games. So the Europa League, Europa Conference League, check them out next week at least, because the second legs will bring a whole bunch of drama, I'm sure, some good football for us. And I'll stop talking.
And they also are great at keeping you distracted from all your work that you need to be doing, whether it be school, your big job. It's a great little side thing to have on your second screen on your computer and just have it on. Nothing too serious. It's not like, heart pounding, sweaty stuff. It's good entertainment to get you through your day. That's a good way to look at it as well.
You got me through college, so.
Yeah, that's certainly a thing. I remember being in class sometimes, or just in between classes. We would go and sit in the atrium together, just watching football together, whether it be Champions League, Europa League. That's what we used to do sometimes. Mm-hmm. But beyond the Champions League and Europa League and the Conference League, we're going to talk about the Premier League. It is the one we do care a lot about. There was only the one midweek game. It was between the third place Chelsea Blues taking on Manchester United, who are trying to keep their Champions League hopes alive. Those hopes were doused a little bit. This one ended in a 1-1 draw, but Cristiano saving the day for Man U, getting the goal. But I think you believe De Gea is probably also going to be that star player that Man U can look and say that he also saved the day.
Cristiano moves into second on the Golden Boot race. No one's going to catch Mo Salah, but beating out Heung-min Son, who's had an insane year this year as well. So, again, Cristiano Ronaldo is not the issue at Man United. He is literally...
Get it into your brains, people.
Holding you guys in 5th or 6th or wherever you guys are now.
Yeah.
And so is David De Gea. David De Gea should win Player of the Year for Man U, or it'll be one of those two. Those two guys are single-handedly just carrying this team, carrying them.
Yeah, it's not a good look for them.
No.
I mean, Bruno Fernandes, I don't think has done anything the past month. I mean,
Disappeared. Missed penalties.
Yeah, I'm gonna say he's been missing penalties that he normally would be slotting away. Penandes, whatever you called him.
Troll.
Like, honestly, it's kind of weird to think that Ronaldo's not the one taking penalties. Maybe that's just me. I would figure he'd just be the one to do it. Anyways, that's not the point about this game. None of the penalties were taken in this one. And it ended 1-1. I didn't get to see the Chelsea goal. Did you see the Chelsea goal?
Yeah, it was good. It might have been deflected to the back post. Somehow it gets to the back post. And probably the best scoring left back. Is that fair? Other than Andy Robertson. Yeah, Alonso always
getting forward.
He's loves getting
forward.
Up
there.
He's always in the box trying to score goals. So he has great hair. So gorgeous man. So he scored their goal.
I've seen him up close in person before. It's real. Yeah. It's nice.
We'll have to show pictures sometime of that trip.
I heard there's a second one happening, but that's not the point.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll talk about that. Should we talk about that right now?
No.
In a second.
We're talking about important things.
Anywho, this game was sort of boring. Didn't really mean much to either team. Maybe more to Man U, but it was a midweek boring game, to be completely honest. I caught a little bit of it. But maybe something that overshadowed the game itself. Ralph Ragnick, I guess, had an interview that day or yesterday or something. I have no idea. But was coming out and saying all these quotes and doing all these things, which is so weird. If I was the head coach, I would just shut up, especially with all the drama that surrounds Man U. Just be quiet, dude. Just stop doing these stupid interviews. It doesn't help anybody. Definitely not you. He came in as a caretaker manager. Basically means he knows.
Baby Man U, little baby.
Basically, what that means is he knows he's not going to have the job for much longer than they told him he's going to have it. They've been searching for a manager, which we told you guys last week or maybe on Monday that they did get. And Ten Hag from Ajax. So what everybody has been told is that Ralph Ragnick, the current caretaker manager of Man U, a lot of M's in there, will move into some consultation role inside the Man U office.
It sort of seemed like initially he would be like the football director. That's what it was initially sort of painted as. But it's been so vague that they have not made any clear indication of what it actually is, which now leaves room to where he might be stepping into something else.
Might be. Probably should. I wouldn't touch Man U with a 10-foot pole. He's been heavily linked with the Austrian head coaching job, the national team head coaching job. So that's very, very interesting. Cole, if I gave you the choice right now to be a consultation part-time person, which I thought it would be a full-time job, by the way. He came out and said there'll be enough time to coach an international gig. It's literally, I think, a quote from him. He said, if I were to give you the option to say, oh, go do some consulting on the side and basically be retired for Man U, or go be a head coach for Austria, which one would you choose?
See, it's strange because he's not even going to be coaching in anything soon. Like, there's no World Cup coming up for him. There's no major tournament. So it's like, okay, cool. I guess go have fun building the national team. But also, Man U is a cesspool of problems. I guess I'm just gonna go coach the national team.
Maybe. I mean,
I guess. I don't know. Like,
I thought that was a rhetorical question. Then I was thinking, I was like, I don't know, part-time gig in Manchester.
Yeah, part-time. That makes sense. No, I think you're right. It's just like, I guess they're both sort of part-timey. I don't know. It depends.
I don't know. To go live in Austria, I think that'd be pretty nice too. But he wouldn't have to live there, like you said. Like, he just show up every once in a while.
It's a really weird thing. I guess maybe he's just a busy bee where he just likes to have his whole life consumed by football and
Anywho,
by, I don't know, very
yeah.
strange.
Enough about this because it's just boring, to be honest, at this point. No one knows what's happening with Man U, and I think it comes from the top down. And it's honestly just getting old at this point. They stay in the news because they're Manchester United and because of their history. But it's getting very old. I'm sort of over it. I'm sort of over Ralph Ragnick as well now. It's just annoying. It's weird. I'm over
So they
it.
can have fun in the Europa League where it's not so good, but not so
Not
bad
so bad.
either.
If they even make it, they could still slip.
They can make the Conference League where it's not good and it's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
But hey,
until the last round.
Tottenham didn't even make it out of the group stage this year, which doesn't say a whole lot because COVID, but still.
It's been a long season.
Yeah, it's been a long season. We've kind of come around a bit. Around the Premier League, though, there's some games this weekend. We have 4 games for a lot of teams left. Some have 5 in hand after this weekend. And I think some ones to keep an eye on. You have Watford and Burnley, those 2 teams at the bottom. Burnley's trying to scratch their way out, stay above the relegation line. Tottenham and Leicester. Tottenham is trying to regain the points that they lost to catch up against Arsenal. Arsenal taking on West Ham, both teams vying for what's left in that top 4 spot. Those 2 games in particular will be very, very important this weekend. I'm thinking as a Tottenham fan, I guess we need West Ham to win so that we can make sure we can get as many points up against Arsenal as possible. Everton taking on Chelsea. Chelsea will definitely look to respond after that stalemate against Man U. Everton will need to respond against the whole season. They are running out of time. The relegation line is above them currently, and they have no choice but to go up if they want to have any shot at staying in the Premier League and continuing their record of 60-plus years in the league. So, of those games, which one is the one that you want to keep your eye on?
I think the Everton-Chelsea one would be very, very interesting. I do think Everton can get points because it is at Goodison Park at Everton. That is a game that they can win. I think Chelsea's sort of in cruise control right now. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think, but that should be a good game to watch. Watch me be so wrong, and Chelsea just comes in there and bends them over and wins 4-0.
Yeah, I think that's probably the likely outcome. I think the West Ham Arsenal game is the biggest game of the weekend. Obviously, I think the Tottenham Leicester game, obviously for me, is very important and is scary because you've had 2 pretty poor performances in a row. But having Arsenal be in front of you on points and having the matchup coming in 2 weeks for the North London Derby, you want to come into that game being level. So you need them to lose it, and you need to win against Leicester so that you have every opportunity to take advantage of that North London Derby. And we'll see what happens. Big weekend.
Big weekend. And then just to mention this before I ask you a question, Newcastle will be hosting Liverpool as well. Newcastle's in flying form. That will probably end against Liverpool, but they, Alan St. Maximin,
Joelinton scoring goals.
Joelinton and Bruno, is it Guimaraes?
Yeah, it's an interesting name.
Yeah, I think is he Brazilian?
We don't talk about Bruno. That's a Disney song. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not.
I'm not. But that should be a very interesting game. Man City goes to Leeds. They gave them a hard time earlier this season. Don't think it'll be the same.
Leeds can still get relegated themselves.
Yeah, so that might be highly contested as well. We'll see. It's a good weekend for the Premier League. But you did mention the North London Derby. Do you have any news on that? You said you had a ticket.
Yes. So I gave you guys an update close to the beginning of this podcast back in February, where I had let you guys know that I had a ticket from the canceled North London Derby in January. Well, I've been watching some TV, and Ewan McGregor keeps coming up on my TV in that Expedia commercial talking about you can buy things or you can go places. It's about the places you go. And I was thinking, man, I could get some stuff. Like I could, buy some things that I do need. But I was like, man, but to go and watch the North London Derby when teams are neck and neck, how could I pass that up? So I have booked my ticket to fly in on the day of the North London Derby, and I'll be going to that game. I'll be going to the final home game against Burnley, and then keeping my eyes open to the FA Cup final between Chelsea and Liverpool.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
I went to the Chelsea Tottenham game in January, I technically have like a Chelsea like ticket membership, so I can buy their tickets. If they're not sold out by the time it comes to my tier of membership, I'm gonna try and see if I can spin it. Anyway, so kind of
That's
crazy.
crazy. Oh
Kind of
my
crazy.
gosh.
I didn't envision this happening again. It was sort of like a pipe dream of like, oh yeah, like maybe I'll go back when they reschedule it. But in a crazy turn of events, I'm finding myself flying back to London and maybe even going to Paris or something. I don't know. I have to figure out what to do with 3 days of my trip still.
Yeah,
But kind of crazy. I don't know if we'll have podcasts while I'm in London. Maybe we
that might be
will. I don't.
tough.
We'll see. I'll definitely have some footage to share. Um, I'm very excited for where I'm sitting. Y'all will be very jealous. Maybe you'll see me if we score in the corner. I might be bringing in the boys, like yeah, like hugging them. That'd be pretty amazing.
That'd be
Hopefully, it's like in
absolutely
the
insane.
90th minute winner. I'm the guy that's in the corner,
Yeah.
hugging Sonny or
Oh
Harry or something
gosh.
like that. I have no idea. I hope they win. Honestly, I just hope they win the game. That's all I'm hoping for.
Hmm.
But that's happening. Very, very excited for that. But beyond just what's happening in my life, there's some more stuff that we need to talk about before this podcast is over. And the CONCACAF Champions League final, leg one, happened Wednesday night against Pumas in Seattle. That one ended in a 2-2 draw. And we've talked about this many, many times that CONCACAF-ing is a real thing, and you can get CONCACAF pretty hard. You believe that this one was just about as true to that as can be. What happened in this one?
The referee the refereeing was the best player of the night, I think.
The most influential?
Yeah, he had the most influence on the pitch, which drives me crazy. So I'm glad I don't have any teams in this fight. There's two penalties that were given that literally don't exist in the world of soccer or football ever, other than CONCACAF.
Yes.
So if maybe that makes more sense for you, for the listeners, for the watchers. You can also just go watch the highlights for yourself to make your own decision.
You're the highlight plug.
But yeah, the first goal on the night was a penalty. It was to Pumas. Juan Nhl, who is the striker, who I've mentioned before, he's having a really good year in the CONCACAF Champions League. He's actually going to win the Golden Boot probably. He's on 9 goals. He gets played a ball into the box, gets it kicked away by a very good challenge from the defender, and then they sort of collide. The ball is gone. It bounces around because I think it deflects off another defender and sort of like comes back like their way. But the defender that made the tackle basically cleared the ball. Like it was no longer Juan Nhl's, the striker. It was given as a penalty right there. So how the ref, and maybe that's a tough call, right? Like the ref is on their backside, can't really see it. And I'm going to try to speed this up because we don't really need to talk about this game. This is sort of like a crap game. Goes to VAR, goes and looks at it, and still says it was a penalty. Never in a million years is that a penalty. Just so you know. Sorry, that was motorcycles running by, I guess. If you could hear it. Anywho, Stephen Fry, the goalkeeper for Seattle, makes the save. But he came off his line early. So it goes to VAR again. They say, no, retake the penalty. Juan Nhl scores it on the second try. Classic CONCACAF right there. But yeah, then he goes and scores an actual goal. A beautiful cross. He heads it in. They go up 2-0. And like I said, he will probably win the Golden Boot. I don't see anybody catching him. But yeah, Seattle then gets a penalty. Also, remember I said there was 3 penalties. 2 of them never exist. There was 3 though. Seattle got the other 2. So Seattle got a penalty, and this penalty, it's hard for me to agree with. The ball is in the box. A Seattle player is going to cross it. Pumas defender is sliding, and as you know, if you slide, if you were to just fall to the ground, your arms would naturally just move up, especially when you're sprinting and you're sliding, your arm's going to come up like this. I think that's a natural position. Some of you might disagree with me. It hits his arm that's up when he's sliding. Immediately gets called a penalty, gets taken, hardly goes in. The goalkeeper probably should have saved it. He had, I think, 2 hands on it, but goes into the side netting. Lodiero scored that one, putting him on 3 goals in the tournament. And then this might be the worst penalty of the night. Did you see this by chance?
Nope.
Okay, you're not missing much. There's a slight touch. Christian Roldan was running toward the end line, and a Pumas defender sort of kicks across him, but it's very light, like really, really nothing. No Seattle players called for a penalty. No Pumas players were calling for a penalty. The ref didn't call anything. They just sort of start running back towards the middle of the field for a goal kick, while Roldan is rolling on the ground, yelling and screaming. So I think his acting job really did get them this penalty. So great job, Christian. If you see this, which you won't. It goes to VAR, and in the 99th minute, Lodiero gets awarded Seattle gets awarded a penalty. Lodiero steps up and takes it to tie the game in the 99th minute. Wow. So I'm going to move on, but if that's any indication of CONCACAF refereeing we're going to see in the second leg, no one can tell you how the second leg's going to go. I mean, literally no one can tell you. And that referee should probably never have a CONCACAF job again, but he will. He will, because that's just how it goes.
We love it.
Hate it.
Well, to the league that we love over the pond, to the MLS, we're going to close you guys out with what we do on Fridays. That is the MLS Fast Five. We give our predictions for the biggest games of the weekend, and we begin with our first prediction between Austin FC and Houston Dynamo. Austin is sitting in second in the West, and Houston is in seventh. We have another big Texas matchup in back-to-back weekends. Brandon, what do you have going on in this one? Prediction.
I will go for a surprising 1-1 tie. I think Houston might be able to get something done there.
I want to give Austin FC a big win, 3-0 against the Dynamo. They, I think, find their way to come level on points with LAFC. We'll see. Real Salt Lake, they're taking on the LA Galaxy. They sit sixth. The Galaxy sit third. This one will be a good one. I have a 2-2 draw, late drama, again involving Chicharito this time. I think he does not get the goal to put them ahead and keeps the game at a 2-2 draw.
Yeah, it's at Real Salt Lake. I think it'll be pretty close. What did you say, 2-2?
I did, 2-2 draw.
I have to choose a winner here. I'll say 1-0 Real Salt Lake, but I'm pulling for the Galaxy.
Okay, we have our hometown guys. They're taking on Montreal. I'm talking about Atlanta United, who, again, somehow are still fourth despite the results that they've been getting recently. Montreal is in sixth, though. They're going north of the border. I am torn. I don't think after last week's performance against Inter Miami, of which I think they got kind of robbed late of a penalty for Brooks Lennon. Anyways, I just don't think we can get the win in Montreal. I think we'll probably lose this one. Probably 2-0 to be honest, but anything can happen. What do you think?
It just really depends. Atlanta United typically holds a lot of the possession. If they can just find ways to score goals, which is probably the hardest thing to do in soccer. Right.
Easier said than done.
I think they can win any game. That's the thing. Luis Araujo. I can never pronounce it. is back, and I predicted him to be the MVP for the MLS this year. Probably won't happen because of his injury, but he's back. You have a lot of guys back. Also, a lot of new injuries that came out this week. I'm gonna say we lose. Our defense is horrible, and we lost the defense. Actually, Campbell's out now, so we might have to play Alan Franco, so who is a better defender. So I think at least. So maybe I'll say 1-0 Atlanta. That was just way too long. 1-0 Atlanta. Who cares?
Okay.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Yeah.
Nashville SC is opening up their new house that we will be visiting in close to a month, less than a month now. They're taking on the first place Philadelphia Union in the East. This will be a really good matchup. Nashville is not where they want to be. They're not in the top of the West. They'll be looking to just get a point, though. I think they open up with a 1-1 draw to open up the new building. That's a safe bet, but I think it's the most realistic outcome that they can look to.
Yeah, I'll go with the draw as well. I'll say, man, 1-1's a really good shout. 1-1 is definitely fair. Philly's very good, but I don't think Nashville will win this first inaugural game.
And in first place in the West, LAFC taking on the Minnesota Loons. They're just a fun team to root for, and I want them to win against LAFC. I'll give a 2-0 win to the Loons in LA.
You might want them to win. I don't think they will. I think it might be a 2-1 game, though, but LAFC will definitely win that one.
Well. I think you're probably right. I'll just throw something out there. But as we kind of begin to close, Brandon, what's going to be on the radar for the people?
Yes, run through in a couple of things. So like we said before, the NHL playoffs are coming up starting May 2nd. We will preview those playoffs on Tuesday when our next episode comes out with a special guest. Cole, I haven't even told you who it's going to be yet. I'm sure you could guess. But so stay tuned for that. That's going to be fun. We're also, like we said, working on getting a gaming episode out, another one, our second one. So that'll be really fun as well. And then finally, like we said, that Nashville trip is coming up towards the end of May. So yeah, still brainstorming some ideas, going to try to figure out something to do for you guys, something maybe new, something fun. Something that we can do, but also enjoy our weekend. So I think that's about it.
Maybe we'll become some bad fans of some culinary things like coffee and desserts or breakfast.
We're getting crazy now.
Hey, we can. That's the thing. We can be bad fans of more than just sports. That's what we love. We can be bad fans of gaming, entertainment, and now we're going to become food experts in Nashville. I don't know. That's just the idea. I'm throwing them out right now. This is live, happening today. Anyways, guys, well, that about wraps things up today here on The Bad Fan. Thank you again for tuning in today. It's been a pleasure as always, and we hope that you enjoyed the time together. Please, if you did, give it a thumbs up. You've made it this far. It's free and only takes a second of your time. If you're not subscribed already, if you're new around here, or you just haven't pressed that button yet, please do. It's free, only takes a second of your time, like we said, and it helps the channel out a lot. We're trying to get to 100 subs by the summer. That's actually quickly approaching, so really need you guys' help getting us there. Just don't be afraid to share with a friend. You can find more people down in the comments below. You have to be bold. Write your claims down, your predictions. We want to hear what you guys have to say. You can do it on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter. Just get down, get talking, and let's get this community growing together. If you want information on how to get to those places, there is a link tree in the description below that can find your way to where you need to be. Well, everyone, thanks again for joining us. All of us here at The Bad Fan today, Brandon and myself. Hope you have a great day, and we will see you guys in the next one. It's going to be great. And until then, wish you some peace and a good weekend. Until then, bye.